'Tis I. Hey everyone, glad to see you back. Glad to see you looking fresh. From the mind of our favorite long-winded director comes Army of the Dead, the newest film on Netflix and the newest film from Zack Snyder, director of Zack Snyder's Justice League, Batman v Superman, and of course a bunch of other stuff. Zack Snyder's been kind of killing it this year, with Zack Snyder's Justice League being a big hit in my eyes, and now Army of the Dead coming out on Netflix. He's having a pretty productive year, and Army of the Dead as a film is pretty good. It's pretty fun. It has its problems. Like, some of the acting in the movie is kind of give and take, you know? A lot of the acting I watch and I'm like, it could have been better. Or, you know, it could have picked it up a little. What happens when you get a bunch of actors that, you know, aren't normally the star of the show? You got Dave Bautista, who's been kind of the side man for a long time, and slowly over time he's becoming more and more of the star. He's great in the movie at times. He does a really good job of being the strong guy. He's the straight man, like everything about that. There's a lot of goodness coming from him, but other than that, there's not really one character in particular that I'm a huge fan of. I think the safe-cracking character is probably my favorite. Other than that, I think he has the most growth over the movie. But there's a lot of characters in this, and a lot that get cast by the wayside. But, like, with a zombie movie, you gotta kind of expect that, right? The thing with zombies, right, is they're so well done in other movies, and they're so, like, some people would say overdone. So, making a coherent zombie movie that is new and interesting and fresh, it's kind of hard to do. But Zack Snyder's had experience before with Dawn of the Dead. So, having him come back to this genre was a lot of fun. Seeing him bring his horror elements, the really interesting, grotesque zombie designs, and that blood and gore that comes with it were very nice. I don't say nice is the right word, but like very interesting. Something you don't get to see a lot. So it was cool to see. This is definitely a step above like most Netflix productions, I would say that. I'm glad Netflix gave him the funding to do this, because apparently he's had this script forever. Being able to see it come to fruition was a lot of fun. I think that this is one of Zack Snyder's like least Zack Snyder-y movies. There's not a lot that would distinguish this particular as a Zack Snyder film. I think some of the song choices he uses, and I think some of the shots are definitely harken back to some of his older stuff. There are a couple times I'm like, there he is. There's the Zack Snyder I'm a fan of. This doesn't, like, scream Snyder to me, kind of like Justice League did. Justice League, like, the whole time, I'm like, this can be no other director other than Zack Snyder. I said the same thing with Dawn of the Dead remake. I said it felt a lot like Michael Bay directed that movie. This does not feel like a Michael Bay movie. Whereas that one, for me, especially in the time it came out and the time Bay was making, I was like, if you told me Zack Snyder and Michael Bay worked on this together, I would believe you. But now, this is clearly not a Bay movie. Like I said, there are very few things that like scream Zack Snyder, but it's a lot of fun. That's the whole way through. I don't know if this means Zack Snyder's evolving, if he's leaving some of his old tropes behind him, or what. Having a bit of that flavor, kind of like Guy Ritchie's kind of flavors too. Like, if you think of that, and like, especially when he was making Aladdin, like, for a lot of time it didn't really feel like a Guy Ritchie movie, but every now and again it would bleed through. That's kind of what I felt here. And I really enjoyed the ride I went on. It's exciting without being too over the top. Too over the top, like, it gets close. There's a lot of crazy zombie stuff that happens in this movie. It's a little predictable at times, but like I said, with zombie stuff, it's not unheard of. I've yet to see a zombie movie that completely, like, changes the way I think about the genre. You kind of, like, know what to expect. Kind of know, like, this will happen or that will happen. This character means this, like, stuff like that. That being said, though, it's still a lot of fun. It's too long. I feel bad about saying that about Zack Snyder's movies, because he clearly, like, every bit of it, he clearly, like, mapped out and put a lot of work into. But it is, at 2.5 hours, it's a bit long. The setup takes a while to get moving. Once it does get moving, it's pretty good. A zombie heist film. It's not really more about the heist, it's more about the zombies. But then again, it's like, some of it's not really about the zombies, it's about the action and stuff. So it's a lot of elements trying to blend together, and it works for the most part. So the heist bits really get left out the most. The heist bits do work when they're there, and when, say, like, the safecracker's doing his thing, and like the escape plan, everything like that. It's all like cohesive, right? It all works in tandem. It makes for an interesting story. Like I said, I wish it was a little quicker getting going with the characters. Like I said, there's so many that like don't get enough screen time to really shine anyway. So like having all of them be set up one by one by one, it makes it feel like, oh, we're getting this team together, this ragtag group of characters that you're gonna love. But like, they don't get enough screen time anyway, so I feel like you could have shortened that a bit. In the middle, it doesn't really drag. Like, once we start doing the heist and stuff, it moves and everything. Once we say, like, there's a point where, like, once the movie starts, its premise, it moves from that point on. Even if it goes for a while. And then the ending too drags a little bit, because, like, I don't know why Zack Snyder recently has been doing this thing where it ends and then there's another ending kind of thing. There's not like an after credit scene. What I'm talking about more is, like, it clearly, like, goes and then boom, ending. And Return of the King is it, where it, like, fades to black, fades out from black, and then there's another thing. All in all, Zack Snyder's been doing a great job. You know, I really like zombie movies, so I was really happy to see him come back to the genre. I had a lot of fun. I hope that Netflix would release this physically, but they rarely release stuff physically, so I'm not holding my breath on that, because I would really like to see it in true HD, true surround sound, all that. I think it would really help this kind of movie out. I'm jealous of the people who got to see this in theaters. It had no showings around me, so I had no chance to go see it, but checking it out today on Netflix was good. This is definitely like a theater kind of movie. Seeing something like that on Netflix doesn't typically happen. So all in all, I give this movie a good soft score of an 8 out of 10. I think it really deserves it. I think it does a lot of things well. I think it does a couple things that's not so great. Honestly, I think some of the stuff that Zack Snyder typically does, like his intensive slow-mo and stuff like that, really could have, like, added some flavor to the middle bits of this movie. But like I said, when I do show up, it's a lot of fun. There are some elements of this that are great, and they are innovative of the zombie genre. But someone like Zack Snyder, you know, I'm glad to see him back and working. He's in full swing this year, obviously. I don't expect a third Snyder film this year, but if we get one, rest assured I will be here. I will soft score it for you guys. As always, if you like this, make sure you like this. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you at some point.